Chapter 13. The mood is a full baboon. It was 12:30. A 900,081cc Harley-Davidson Mitsubishi Cranston Thurbid, black leather-bound, steel-studded City of Angels bike iron-throated its way up the Pauntley Drive of 204 Bristol Avenue, South Brentwood, L.A., California. "Shit," drawled David. "That's Peter." Being laid back, obligatory in Southern California, I allowed the customary 20-minute pause to elapse before responding with, "'Pon my soul, 'tis." We allowed another 20 minutes of laid-back time to pass before expecting to hear the doorbell. Zzz, it clanged. Both parties either side of the door alpha-rhythmed away a further third of an hour. Finally, after a series of languid phone calls, we managed to get through to Starlight Emergency 24-hour luxury door-opening service. We'd used them before. They were a good firm, and for a pittance of $1,000 a week, would arrive within minutes to open anyone's doors. There was, of course, a $50 surcharge for not being in the Beverly Hills area, but in addition to their activities with portals, they would remove any unwanted single-portion pizzas under 1 meter in width. David gave them a Mexican gardener as a tip and showed Peter in. Peter Bromilo, 6 feet 12 inches of mock neo-Nazi garbed SS rough trade chic, strode into the room and politely asked to be shown the cucumbers in a manner reminiscent of Henry Irving at Agincourt. "Now grit the teeth and wet the microtome. If tea party there be, let cucumber be slivered to the thinnest with precision, and pressed twixt finest slices of good bread." Exits left into kitchen. Starfeast 24-hour caterpersons were not allowed to interfere with their grotesque Californian ways in the preparation of this most English of occasions. The therapy was underway. In the kitchen, bread was already being thinly sliced with the sharpest of knives, dipped in 211 Fahrenheitist water by Deitch Helmer, a Russian Jewish princess and session-singing, side-saddle-riding veterinarian's assistant, while in another corner of the room a grinning, momentarily apostate tunesmith son of Sid Charisse was mixing some elixir grimdarkii, its influence pervading the very atmosphere. Zzz, rustled the doorbell, heralding the arrival and swift starlight-assisted admittance of Barbara and Dr. Timothy Leary. The blissful couple appeared to have attained glitnia, Yimuzvara, call it what you will, but they had definitely uncoiled kundalini right up past their sahasraras. They had eschewed years of meditation in lotus posture, tedious attempts at withdrawing attention from perceptual cognition, and weeks of leafing through back numbers of Self-Realization magazine, and had achieved the same Elysian state by the use of chemical additives. As the couple glid past, Timothy's blue-grey eyes gazed with radium-like lustre into something that might well be described as eternity. Their 3 children, seeing something they wanted in the garden, stampeded earthily over the grand piano, through a token bevy of uninvited journalists, across the lawn, leapt over the recumbent naked form of a friend of David Hockney, and straight into the pool fully clothed. "Isn't that George Lazenby over there, enjoying a can of specially imported Foster's Lager?" "What? Do you mean behind Christopher Isherwood and Georgia Brown, seen there enjoying a joke with Ian Lafrene?" queried the second token journalist. "Yes, between Peter Cook and Dudley Moore, Bo Diddley and the piano, seen over there enjoying a brief rest in a tight schedule." "Who's that with Hollywood psychiatrist Dr. Stuart Lerner?" "It could be either Jane Seymour, Jenny Aguta, Susan George, Shelley Duvall, or Victor Borger." "Victor Borger? Sorry, did I say Victor Borger? Only I also thought I caught sight of Victor Borger enjoying a quiet word with Charlton Chuck Heston and screenwriter companion Alan Katz." "Yes, but who's that girl with Stuart Lerner?" "Ah, that's Sylvia Christel." "Oh." The sun dappled its way through the trees, spilling onto the crisp white linen of the tea table which ran the full length of the garden. Cucumber sandwiches were passed. Tea was poured from silver pots into bone china, and the soft clop of croquet mallet hitting ball wafted across the lawn. A token journalist 4 yards away thought the party was in full swing, and I could hear the distant drone of Bernard McKenna throwing up after his second bottle of bourbon. Thank heavens we'd given him his own quarters. Everyone seems to be occupied, I thought, as I slipped through the guests, nodded to Burt Reynolds' chauffeur, and stepped discreetly through a side door into the waiting presidential limo. Now for Phase 2. It was, coincidentally, David Frost's 40th birthday party, his 3rd that afternoon, and I'd promised to try and look in for a moment or two. I'm glad I did, for there, in the main ballroom, seated at the top table, completely surrounded by journalists, was David Paradine Frost. David was so preoccupied that he was unaware that table upon table of celebrities to grace this magnificent occasion had sent along cardboard cutouts of themselves. There sat an effigy of Peter Sellers. At another table, a photograph of James Coburn chatted to an image of Dick Van Dyke. Between them, one could see the outline of Andy Williams standing in for a silhouette of Ray Stevens. Mary Tyler Moore, Jane Fonda, Gabe Kaplan, Victor Borger and David Niven had arrived as a group shot, and David thanked a two-dimensional Henry Kissinger for his thoughtful gift of 24 fresh sycophants, and even more effusively thanked one of his secretaries for having had the absolutely superbly fantastic and original idea of inviting his mother along. Then, almost as if on cue, a singing telegram arrived. A refugee from a Busby Berkeley musical mawked her way through a cloying paean of praise for David's unique achievement. This was followed by a dancing telegram, followed by a dancing and singing telegram, then a dancing-singing telegram on roller skates dressed like a birthday cake. David even managed to feign surprise when a fifth telegram, a roller skating, shouting, singing comedy duo, arrived. For once, David had made a slight miscalculation. Even his synthesized smile showed signs of sagging, fortunately perking up professionally for each photographic flash. Luckily, Peter Sellers' cardboard cutout had lost interest in the proceedings, and I was able to make my exit hiding behind it as it excused itself on the grounds of ill health. It had apparently been bitten on the shin by a tiger whilst skiing. On the way out, I consoled an agitated Rod Stewart, who unfortunately had had to come to the party in person. He'd only got married that morning, and the blow-ups of the happy couple could not be processed in time. A calm and Mirandetal host person with eerily nude legs assisted me to my seat in the Starminder Sit-'em Easy limo loader. As I was glidden hydraulically to my seat in the presidential limo, through the darkened glass I caught a glimpse of Peter's cutout being loaded with intensive care into a Rolls-Royce Silver Cloud Fantambulance. I pressed the audio off switch on the colour TV and settled back to listen to Dr. Bowie's Kooks on the car's septemphonic sound system. Took a can of Diet Loganberry Shasta from the bar and sipped at it between puffs of a J of Antarctic beige, nibbling sporadically from a plastic bag full of mushrooms. As we fluoresced our way westward along Sunset past a shimmering Chateau Marmont, another limo glowed alongside. Its sunroof slid back, and a figure stood up to wave cheerily at some ladies with long legs standing outside the body shop. It was Eric Idle. I pressed the raise button on my armrest and went up to the sun deck position. Eric had disappeared inside. I told the driver to get me his number and picked up the handset. Seconds later, I heard the phone ring in the next-door car. After the usual pleasantries of "Hello, Eric," "Hello, Graham," "What are you on?" had been exchanged, he and Ricky Fatang and Penelope Elm crossed over on their limo loader.